We begin with Lewandowski, political strategist, former Trump campaign manager. Corey, I'm guessing you agree with my assessment.
Well, Leland, look, one of the very basic principles of America was that Lady Justice is blind. When you go to the Supreme Court, Lady Justice sits there with a blindfold on because every person is supposed to be treated equally under the law. And in these two particular cases, which you just outlined, you can agree or disagree with Donald Trump, but nobody thinks that he has had a fair opportunity to present his case here. What we see in the case in Georgia, clearly she testified under oath. She had an extramarital affair with the person who has made $650,000 of taxpayer money. He then paid for these vacations, wrote them off as business expenses. She allegedly paid him back in cash, but there's no record of him either depositing the cash or her taking cash out of some banking institution to have that money.
We've covered that. I'm wondering, just from a purely political standpoint, you're a political consultant, if all of this hasn't been pretty good for Donald Trump. He was ahead in the polls, but certainly not by the margin he is now, and certainly not in the margin over Ron DeSantis before the indictment. 16% increase in polling after the hush money indictment, net 30 after Mar-a-Lago, net 36 after D.C. interference indictment, net 40 after Georgia.
Look, it sounds antithetical. This only makes Donald Trump stronger. Donald Trump in less than 2 weeks is going to win in South Carolina. He's going to be the Republican nominee for president of the United States. Joe Biden had the worst week of any president in modern history last week when his own Justice Department came out and said he's a feeble old guy who's got a bad memory, and that's the only reason we didn't charge him with a crime. So, look, we see Donald Trump being charged with crimes that most people don't even think were crimes, that, hey, my value of my property is worth more than other people think it is. Sure, people do that all the time to try and sell things for more than maybe what the market is. And this case in
Corey, we can all agree, though, that there's a difference between saying something's worth a little bit more and trying to ask a little bit more for it in a sale than what happened here. Trump's valuation, and he was very happy with the Palm Beach County tax appraiser's appraisal of Mar-a-Lago, which was between $18 and $27 million. He paid taxes on that amount. No problem to him. And then he told the bank that it was worth $739 million. Normal people aren't allowed to do that. It's not how it works.
Yeah, but here's the difference, Leland. Look, it is the value of that property. I've been there many, many times, is what you can find someone to pay for it. The CEO of Citadel is purchasing land just down the road from Donald Trump and has spent over $1 billion amassing a parcel of land almost as big as Mar-a-Lago. And he still has to build a house on the thing. So look what? Do I think Mar-a-Lago is worth $700 million? All day long. If I'm the taxpayer,
but it doesn't matter
on 12 million or 15. Sure, I do, because I want to save my money.
Yeah, but how is that? But how is that? But right. But how is that fair? How is it fair that you've got somebody who's saying to the banks, it's worth this much, okay, and I can sell it for this much, and then he's telling the county, he's telling everybody else, hey, it's only worth $18 million. That's all the taxes I have to pay. That goes to what people don't like about Donald Trump.
Yeah, but Leland, here's the thing. These bankers are unbelievably sophisticated. They do their own due diligence. They decide to loan money based on what they determine the value.
But Corey, I'm not talking about due diligence. I'm talking about how it looks to voters that you've got somebody who is not paying their fair share and is telling the banks one thing and the tax appraisers another thing. It may look like good business, but there's a reason people don't like businessmen.
Well, that may be the truth, Leland, but here's the real thing, right? People don't care how much money Donald Trump's properties are worth, and they don't actually care how much Donald Trump is worth. They care about what's important to them, which is crime, making sure that their families are safe, making sure they can put food on the table. Look, the issue of illegal immigration is the #1 issue in America. So does Donald Trump have a net worth of $3 billion, $5 billion, or $500 million? Nobody cares because it doesn't affect their lives. What they care about is having their kids safe, being in a good school system, being able to put food on their table, and stopping the illegal immigrants.
Okay. No, I think it's a point well made. People care about themselves, not about anybody else. Hey, Corey, it's good to see you as always. Thank you. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's
fact-driven, unbiased coverage.